Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. This is part two of my weekend with my dad and getting him out and the craziness that ensues. I was just talking about the end of Saturday and how he ended up in the hospital. And because he didn't want to go to Marycrest, he wasn't feeling well, but he ended up going to the hospital and sleeping there instead. And which I mentioned at the end of the last episode was, I think, is not the right thing for him to do in terms of how much pressure our medical system is under right now. So he did. He apparently got threatened to get arrested. I know my dad can be very hard to deal with, so I have no idea what happened there, but he's talking about suing the hospital. He's talking about suing the hospital a couple months ago. Like, dude, come on, just get to where you need to go so you can get taken care of. I know he's reluctant, and I understand. Marycrest is... I honestly think the people there have good hearts, but I have seen some things where I'm like, yeah, I don't know how competent they are, Dad. However, this is where you are now. You didn't get to where you wanted to be. I'm sorry, but you have a single unit. You don't have a roommate. You have a nice little room. Yeah, it's not the best neighborhood, but I don't think anyone's breaking into Marycrest, stealing old people, so I think you're okay. And so that leads us to today. Today felt worse than yesterday, and yesterday was pretty rough. I said I loaded a truck, got my couch and chair here back to my home, got all the rest of his stuff at Marycrest, and then here's the thing. See, U-Haul, for some reason, they're not letting people do 2-day rentals over the weekend. I guess they're just pressed for trucks. And so when I asked to rent two days, which I didn't want to do anyway, because I know we can do this in one day easily. I had the truck for 12 hours yesterday. I didn't use the whole 12 hours, but I was expecting to make 2 trips. But I ended up only making 1 swing trip between all 3 places. It worked out pretty well. And so my dad, this is how insane my dad is. So my dad I mentioned Lenny in the last video, and he's been an amazing help. He's the brother of my dad's neighbor, I mentioned that too. But he's been super nice and helpful. And frankly, I think my dad bullies him a little bit. But Lenny, my dad asked Lenny to rent a second truck for Sunday. And I'm like, we don't need to, but okay, since you did it, all right. So he has Lenny rent a truck. What does he tell Lenny either last night or this morning? Oh, we don't need the truck anymore. I only got like a dozen boxes here. No, you fucking don't. He has way more than a dozen boxes. So he calls off the truck that we really could have used, right? And by the way, now we're still more in the way of Ellen and her sister, who are trying to get out of here too, right? So my dad is just holding court again, just sitting in his little chair in the living room, just calling people saying, you're coming to get the... wasting time and not letting me get stuff. He had like 3 boxes of, like, just says paperwork on it. And I go, where do you want this to go? My place or Marycrest? He was like, later. I go, Dad, it is later. I can't, we have no more time. What are you doing? Let me take this stuff where you need it to go. So today, in some ways was easier than yesterday, in some ways was worse. So, we had taken all the stuff over there, but he hadn't spent the night. As I mentioned, he spent the night in the hospital. And so I got to, so Logan and I got to the house, I think it was around 10 o'clock. And we loaded some boxes. And I told my dad, I did not want to make more than 1 trip today. I'm giving you a gift. I'm making 1 trip. I'm swinging some of this stuff to Marycrest. I'm swinging some of it by my home. You said a dozen boxes. I've got like 10 in my car, and there's a lot more than 2 in that house. So, yeah, you screwed up when you told Lenny not to get the truck. If you still can get the truck, you should take him up on that. Oh, no. Okay, fine. All right, so Logan and I went down, and we brought a few boxes to my home, which can stay here, and then we brought more to Marycrest, and we went nuts in there. We unboxed and put stuff on shelves and made his bed. We didn't quite set up his computer, but we got all the computer stuff on the desk. We didn't set up the TVs either, but we did a lot because there's a lot of shit in that 300 square foot place. We like got all of his vitamins and his meds and his med supplies out and put them where in place that made sense to us. And then we got all his food out and any paperwork he has, which I don't know why he has it, but we put everything where we could, and it is packed in there. And then he has Lenny come in. Lenny comes and a little while later, he's like, "Can I help you guys?" And he helped us for a little while. And then, I like Lenny, but he will just talk and talk and talk and talk and tell corny jokes. So I'm not going to say I'm Louis C.K. or George Carlin, but comedians really hate cliche, corny jokes. It's the worst. It's just like, and after a while, I don't even polite laugh anymore. I'm like, yeah, okay, you said that. And so have a million other people. But he's a nice guy, so I try to be nice. But after a while, it's like, he just keeps talking. And I'm just like trying to get the hint that, yeah, I'm working here. And he does want to help, but there's also just a 300 square foot apartment packed with boxes that we're trying to unload. I really just want to say, Lenny, please leave. But I also knew that he didn't want to go because that means he has to go back and deal with my dad. Like I said earlier in the last video, he's kind of been bullying him, in my opinion. But we got, I felt really good about what we got done. It's a livable space now. And but at the end of, right before Lenny leaves, because my dad's been bugging me to do this and I haven't, I've either forgotten or not wanted to, I'm going to be honest about that. It's like, take some pictures. What? You know what the place looks like. No, I want you to take pictures. And Lenny didn't only take pictures, he took moving pictures. Like, he took a movie, and Logan and I are there working on the shit, and he takes this film and then, sends it to my father. And my dad's like, and I tell my dad, the place is packed, and that's honest. He's like, it's not packed. I go, Dad, all the shelves are filled, all the cabinets are filled. There's some, you need some walking. The closet's stuffed. You have stuff along the walls. He's like, oh, I can get, it's not packed. I was like, Dad, I'm asking you, as your son, that's going to have to deal with this after you leave. Please don't hoard in this place, please. So like, it's not hoarding. I go, yeah, it is. You don't need this stuff. You still don't need about 3/4 of the shit you have. You really don't. And so it was very frustrating because he's still bringing stuff. He had like 3 boxes of paperwork that I could store here that he insisted go to Marycrest. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I can swing by Marycrest on the way back home. He's like, no. What? Why not? And I don't ask that question. I have absolutely refrained from asking why questions. I just want to give you this is a typical Joe Corelli conversation. This is how it goes. Because he literally had one of these with my stepmother and me within like 5 minutes of each other. I actually forgot mine, but I was very observant of the one with my stepmother. So this lady came in. There are all kinds of people coming in, going out that they're donating stuff to, which is great, but it's still, this was a deadline that should have been set months ago, right? And you can't get it by August 1st. It's going to donation. And so these people come, this lady comes in, and Ellen's talking to her, and Ellen's got some stuff on a table, and frankly, it's none of my father's business, but as you know, it's Joe Corelli, so he's going to chime in. And Ellen's like, yeah, you can have this and this, and my dad's like, wait a minute, you're getting rid of that? And she said, or you don't want that anymore? She's like, no. He's like, why not? What do you mean? She's like, no. And so, like a reasonable person, she starts to explain, because she's already said no once. So on the second no, she goes, because and he's like, okay, fine, let's not waste time. Like, you're a dick. You heard no the first time, and then you acted like you wanted an explanation, and then you cut her off in the middle of the explanation. Literally a few minutes later, he did it with me, and I can't even remember what it is because I just blank out on all the bullshit. I just push it to my recycle bin and just let it go. But he did the exact same thing to me. He asked something, I was like, no, I don't need that. He's like, you sure? You don't need that? And I go, Dad, I go, no, I don't need it. I started explaining why, and dude, same shit. So, he's still there tonight, but I think Lenny's bringing him to Marycrest tonight. Ellen and her sister and Lenny have got a big chore on their hands. It's going to be, I just feel bad for them because the preparations weren't made. What needed to be done didn't get done. We had piled up boxes all summer and nobody thought to like break down the boxes we don't need. We had literally like a pickup truck's worth of boxes, smashed down, not just thrown. I crushed boxes for like an hour, just condensing boxes. And we're going to waste so much cardboard that could have been recycled. It's just bothersome. But, you know, this is the wild world of Joe Corelli, and John Corelli, to be fair. And it's, you know, I'm sorry. You guys get to join the world that I joined. And hopefully tomorrow we'll talk about some other stuff. I'm sure school will give me some subjects to talk about. And read the Sunday paper if I get a chance, and maybe hit upon some other subjects. So thanks for listening once again, you guys. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.